What's going on, everybody? Today I have got 15 sweet summer scents. If you're somebody like me, this is probably going to be the best summer fragrance video you can find. I've got some new things in here. I've got some things that have been around for a while, but this is a list, again, that is sort of the cream of the crop of my collection, the things that I like to wear most during the summer, and that's things that have a little bit of a sweet edge, but they still work in some heat. So we're going to dive in, but before we do, remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that. Also, give the video a very sweet click on the like button if you like it. And let me know in the comments, what are some of the fragrances you wear in the summer that have got a little sweetness, but they still really work? Okay, let's get into this list. First up, this is one I've mentioned a few times before, but it is so very good. It's sort of the warm weather flanker of my favorite leather fragrance, maybe my favorite fragrance. I'm talking about Philip Plein No Limit Super Fresh. And it is the most gorgeous leather note imaginable. It's this sort of slightly animalic, realistic leather, but then you've got some spice, a little more fresh spicy than warm spicy as compared to the original. You've got a little bit of white chocolate in here. You've got a nice citrus, sort of a bright citrus in the opening and the mid that makes this one, again, a summer appropriate fragrance, even though it's a little gourmand and it's a leather fragrance. So again, super fresh, no limits. This stuff is awesome. All right, next up, this one is newer to my collection. This is a little bit of a take on a fragrance I've had for a long time, but I prefer this one. I'm talking about Nitro Platinum, and it's got a lot of similarities to Lattafa's Kayed Al Fursan, but this one is, it's more palatable. The Lattafa has got a certain kind of bitterness that a lot of people really don't like, but this one you've got powerful, sweet pineapple. That's like 80% of the fragrance. Then you've got some woods, and you've even got a touch of oud, but the way the oud and woods are handled in this one, they blend way better with that pineapple. This one I even like the pineapple note better, smells a little more natural. Again, this is Nitro Platinum. All right, next. This one is, again, another kind of newer pickup. It's a clone of 1 Million Lucky, which is on the shelf behind me here, and just a great, interesting 1 Million flanker that's got some ozonic notes that make it appropriate for some warm weather. This one is Emper Genius Metallic. Now this one, the ozonic quality is rolled back a little bit, but the plum and the, I think it's grapefruit that are in the opening and mid of this fragrance, they are stronger and they hang on more, and there's even a touch more sweetness. So this one is not as complex as the Paco Rabanne, but I actually like it more, and I haven't even touched 1 Million Lucky since I got this one. Again, this is Genius Metallic. Really good stuff, and more of a twist on 1 Million Lucky than a clone, but it's really good stuff. All right, next up. This one is so super unique. You hardly hear anybody talk about it, but this is one of the very top of the list for me of this kind of fragrance. Summer fragrance that's got some sweetness. This is Salvatore Ferragamo Uomo Casual Life. And so this one differs from the other Uomo fragrances in some ways, and then it's got a lot of similarities. It's still got a little bit of that sort of tiramisu coffee note that the others are known for, and a little bit of that sweetness. But there's also some lemon and there's some violet leaf that make this one, again, really a summer take on this DNA. Super interesting, quite fresh, ozonic fragrance with some gourmand sweetness and even some coffee. Really good stuff. Uomo Casual Life. All right, next. This is an oldie but a goodie. This one, there's been so many takes on this DNA. This one is even kind of a take on another DNA. I'm talking about the original Rasi Haas. This is, you know, aquatic, bubblegum, bay leaf, Invictus style fragrance with some more aquatics and a touch of spiciness. There's so many things in this vein now, but This one now you get for under $40. It's got great performance. It's got there's a lot of recognition in the community because so many people have tried it and love it. So again, Rasi Haas, don't forget about this one because it is awesome in the summer. All right, next up, another new pickup. This one is a clone of 1 Million Parfum, which was kind of a summer flanker in the 1 Million line. This is Lattafa's Fakar Gold, it's sometimes called, or it's called Fakar Extrait. And basically this is a sweet rose fragrance with a bit of what they call solar notes or suntanning oil, but this one has actually got a little bit of spiciness that the 1 Million does not have, and it's got, some people would say that it's a little too unisex for them, even leaning feminine, but I've got a number of fragrances that have that sort of suntan oil vibe, and this one's pretty much becoming my favorite. It's a tie between this one and a clone that I have of Juliet Has a Gun Vanilla Vibes. They are quite similar, but this one, you know, doesn't have all that vanilla, and it's got a very interesting spiciness. It's got that rose facet, which is really cool. This is really good stuff. To me, it is plenty masculine enough, but if you don't like unisex fragrances, you know, you could steer clear of this one. And I will tell you, this DNA, in a few different forms that I have similar things, is a compliment magnet. One of my most complimented DNAs, period, over the past several years, this type of fragrance. Next is another one that has been around for a while, but you can still find this out at the rack stores for like 20 bucks, $25. This is Abercrombie & Fitch First Instinct Extreme. And it is basically this, it's a very interesting sort of starfruit melon fruity fragrance, but it's also got some spiciness. It's to me, there are some similarities to Parfums de Marly Sedley, although, you know, this one's got a little different sweetness and even a little bit of a different spicy feel, but this is very versatile. Wear it pretty much all year round, any situation, although it does have a bit of a playful feel. I wouldn't probably wear it in a tux, but this stuff is super good and pretty available if you've got good rack stores in your area. All right, next, this is a brand new pickup. This is from Zoha Aroma, and this is a clone or inspiration of Kayali Vanilla 28. This is called Viral Vanilla. And this fragrance is a vanilla bomb. It's in the vein of something like Mercedes-Benz Club Black. A lot of similarities to that one. Or Paco Rabanne Ultra Red. A lot of similarities to that one. But this one is lightened up a little bit. It's not as dense. It's not as sweet as either of those fragrances. There's a little bit of a lift. There's some musk and some jasmine that give a little bit of a lift to this one. But again, this is another one that is unisex, you know, so you've got to be okay with that to wear it. But I don't mind unisex fragrances as long as it doesn't smell like a chick. And this one doesn't. It's just a cool vanilla fragrance. Next up, this is one, I think it's been out for, you know, 6 months or so. At least it's been west for about that long. This is Fragrance World's dupe of Le Beau. I think it's the EDT, but I'm not really sure, EDT or EDP. This is Jean Gustav Homme Amaze. And you know, what you get with this one is tonka bean and coconut and pineapple. And this one I probably get coconut first, then pineapple, then tonka bean. The tonka bean's got a little bit of powderiness to it, but that pineapple, coconut, pina colada vibe is very much sort of a tropical kind of fragrance. So it's got a decent amount of freshness. I probably wouldn't wear it in 100-degree heat, although I have been wearing it, you know, the last week where it's been 95 degrees. But there's a little bit of sweetness, so beware of that. But that's true with all of the ones in this video. So again, Jean Gustav Homme Amaze. Next, this one I was so excited about. This is from Generic Perfumes, and it is their take on Nishane Ani X. Now the Nishane X fragrances, most of them take one of their popular DNAs and freshen them up. And that's what they did with this one. They added some extra citrus in this one that freshens it up and turns it into a kind of warm weather take on Ani. They add a very sort of bright opening and mid that tamps down the sweetness and lightens the fragrance up a little. This stuff is so very cool. Good performance, super accurate fragrance profile. This is their A++, so this is their higher end. I think it's kind of like an extrait de parfum. But again, if you want something like Ani X, but you don't want to pay a couple $100 for it, Generic Perfumes, their take on Ani X, super good stuff. Next one, this one is one of the best cheapy finds that is out there available right now. This is one of the Coach for Men flankers. This is Platinum, and it is basically a base that is very similar to Dior Sauvage, but they layer on top of that Dior Sauvage a gorgeous powdery vanilla and pineapple. So it opens with pineapple, and that vanilla comes in right away with a bit of a dusty kind of a feel. And then in the base, you've got that aromatic, fresh, spicy, gorgeous Dior Sauvage feel. So if you want something vanillic and fruity, this one right here is what you want to get, and you can usually get this for really cheap. Next up, this one is a collab between Aroma Concepts and Paris Corner. This one is called Batique, and it is watermelon in a bottle. It's supposed to give you the idea of a watermelon garden. There's a little bit of a green heart, a green facet, but watermelon's like 80 to 90% of the fragrance. I actually will layer this sometimes with a very green fragrance. I've got several fragrances that are almost smell like grass, and so I like layering this with that. This one could be too feminine for some guys for sure, because it is, again, like watermelon candy. And so layering it with something like that has worked really well for me. Next up, this is one that, you know, got a lot of hate when it came out. I think just because when it came out, every company was doing their Invictus style fragrance. But I'm telling you, this fragrance is very unique as compared to most Invictus style fragrances. And this is one of my most complimented fragrances of the past year. I'm talking about just the original Spice Bomb Night Vision, the EDT. This stuff is awesome. It does have that sort of aquatic Invictus kind of a feel, but it's also got some of that green spiciness like the Night Vision EDP does. And Night Vision EDP is one of my top 3 favorite fragrances of all time. And so this one, you get some of that sort of greenness and spiciness, but it's freshened up a whole heck of a lot with a lot of that aquatic, you know, Invictus Aqua kind of a vibe. So I love this stuff. Night Vision EDT, you know, it just smells amazing and people love it. Next, this one is maybe the most expensive fragrance in the video. I think I paid about $80 for this, but it's a giant niche bottle. I'm talking about Manera Lemon Lime. I've only had this for about a week. And what you get with this one, it is basically lemon heads, like lemon heads candy in the opening. A little bit of a powdery take on lemon heads candy. But then it goes into a very aromatic heart and dry down. You've got a geranium note that comes through very clear. You've got a white musk. You've got some oak moss that again comes through quite clear. So it would have been cool if it was only lemon heads, but it would also sort of limit when you can wear it. But this one's sort of like lemon heads layered on top of an aromatic, you know, almost chypre kind of fragrance. Last one, I put another one in here from Generic Perfumes. Honestly, I could have put several more. I've been legitimately very impressed with their fragrances. This is their take on Le Beau Paradise Garden. It's just Generic Perfumes Le Beau Paradise Garden. And what you get with this one very clearly is you get Le Beau, you know, very similar to the notes that I talked about with Fragrance World's dupe, but you also get this green melon garden vibe, especially in the opening. The opening is gorgeous. It's like, you know, it's like sort of a sweet green vibe with sort of a like a watery melon kind of a vibe, and then you go down into the other notes, but the unique opening does hang on throughout. It flavors the entire fragrance, even though the opening is probably the best part. This is not the A+ or the A++, it's just the regular, and I've been loving this stuff. Both of my sons have been loving this stuff as well the last few days, so, you know, their take on Le Beau Paradise Garden. So that's been 15 summer fragrances with some sweetness. I'd love to hear your own list down below. Remember to give a very hot, sweet click to the like button if you like the video, and subscribe because I'll have videos like this coming out for you every couple of days. I'm Justin. This is Rasi Haas Scents.